I've been here, been on hiatus for about a week, and the day that I come back to actually play, we got a ban and restricted announcement. All right. What are the formats? Pioneer and Explorer. Now, what I don't like, well, first off, Pioneer had Winota and Expressive Iteration are banned, and Explorer Iteration is gone. And essentially, Winota is staying banned, which I figured that was the case because, Winota is a really unfair Magic card, whatever. The thing that I don't understand is in the Pioneer space, it is noted that previous updates we want Pioneer to provide a diverse and experience as possible built out of an ever-growing collection of standards past, but it has become clear that Winota is suppressing diversity as its power and consistency have never drastically reduced incentives to play other linear creature-based strategies. Not only is it a resilient mid-range deck that can leverage many powerful mana creatures available in the format, but its explosive draws involving the deck's namesake can create unassailable battlefield states as quickly as turn 3. Now, this is true, and if this is the line that we're going to draw, turn 3, then you got to get rid of everything else. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have banned Winota. Winota is an unfair Magic card, and it does exactly what you want on the turn it hits the battlefield, on turn 3, turn 4, whatever. But if turn 3 is the unassailable battlefield line that we're trying to stop, then you need to get rid of all of them. I don't play Pioneer. I play Explorer, and Explorer has been mostly fun. But Winota didn't feel to me as busted as everyone thought it was, but I was also... Winota was kind of one of those decks, or one of those cards that felt like it was sort of the same as the Teferi problem, which is basically that Teferi is the best thing you could be doing in those colors, and to not do it is just basically bad. And merely the existence of the card, knowing that you have to account for it, even if it's not the most busted thing you could be doing, or rather you're not going to face it every time, the fact that it merely exists forces you to make deck building concessions because you know that the card you're going to see it. And that's essentially what Winota basically did, was that it warped the formats that it was in to essentially stop, diversity, which is probably true in Pioneer, and it's probably true in Explorer too. My contention is that you didn't go far enough. You got to go further, especially in Explorer. Greasefang and many other decks that kill on turn 3, and I know there's some in Pioneer that people are getting upset about, mainly Lotus Field and possibly some Nykthos decks, although those have basically fallen on the wayside. I understand why Iteration got axed in Pioneer, and that's not my irritation. And their contention was that Iteration has been a multi-format all-star since its release in Strixhaven. It has fueled a variety of highly successful Izzet strategies in Pioneer, both providing card selection and advantage at a much higher rate than what is available to other decks, making it extremely difficult to other strategies to engage them in wars of attrition. I don't know if that's true or not. Although I don't want to say that I don't know if that's true. There's an argument to be made. Alas. Although we recognize that there are several other powerful card draw spells in the format, notably Cruise and Dig Through Time, we currently believe that Delve spells contribute to blue decks in Pioneer having a unique identity among Eternal formats, As Pioneer's card pool has fewer strong cantrips and no fetch lands, we're hoping many Delve cards can continue to be a part of the format at a moderate power level compared to how they would play in non-rotating formats. Essentially saying that Iteration allowed other decks or other archetypes to flourish with Dig Through Time and Treasure Cruise, where it was just a bit too consistent, given that there are no other cantrips or fewer cantrips. For example, Serum Visions or other red stuffs, because Iteration is basically played in every format. So, and the ability to have Treasure Cruise or Dig Through Time, which is not legal in any other format but Pioneer, Iteration was kind of like one of those cards that allowed you to fill the graveyard or continue card flow at a rate that was better than everything else, which I understand. What I don't understand, however, is their contention to lower the win rate of a wide variety of Izzet decks to bring them. That's fine in Pioneer. It's worth noting that we'll continue to align the Pioneer ban announcement with Action and Explorer. This means that Iteration will also be banned in Explorer. And we'll revisit the ban after Dominaria United. But the main contention here is, why are you banning Iteration in Explorer and just further pigeonholing the format already, where there aren't that many decks in the format that are competitive? I'm not saying it's not diverse on the ladder. However, there is a giant difference between ladder play and Explorer and tournament play. There are maybe, especially with Iteration gone now, there are maybe 5 decks in the format that are competitive in the tournament setting. Greasefang, Sacrifice, Rakdos Midrange, Creativity, and various Transmogrify, Fires, Invention decks. And you can basically combine all of them into maybe 3 or 4 decks, right? So my contention is, you banned Iteration when it didn't need to be, and if your contention is that the announcements need to be tailored to parallel Explorer and Pioneer, you didn't do that with Winota. You only did that about 30 to 45 days after the fact, and looking at how it is now, Iteration could theoretically stay in Explorer because it wasn't the most played card, and Izzet wasn't the most played archetype. Now in Pioneer, that's different. There are multiple Izzet decks that we're seeing a lot of play, namely Blue-Red Control and Izzet Phoenix and Prowess, but I think Phoenix was the better deck. I might be wrong though. But the main contention is that specifically Explorer, getting rid of Iteration, if for the sake of argument, if you got rid of it 45 days, because that's basically the time frame between banning Winota and Explorer and then finally it getting the axe in Pioneer, if that were the case, then why couldn't we wait until the middle to end of July, which is when the Historic Anthology 6 drops? That's my only irritation at this whole deal, is that Iteration wasn't the most played card in Explorer, and in fact, it wasn't fueling the most powerful decks in the format. That's the only thing. I understand it's supposed to mirror Pioneer, I get that, but they didn't do that with Winota. And in fact, Winota was banned in Explorer before it was banned in Pioneer, and if they're supposed to mirror, then stay consistent. I mean, I'm over it. Like, I can play different decks in Explorer, and there's a lot of decks that you can play, but the point being is that On the Ladder is much different in competitiveness than it would be in, say, an MTGO League or Constructed League or Mythic High Ladder or whatever, right? Like, for example, Greasefang and the Creativity decks. Like, there's not very much interaction with them, right? Overall, though, I'm okay with the Pioneer bans. The Explorer ban I'm not too happy about, but I understand why they did it. Just, could you have waited until we got Treasure Cruise? Please? Like, because now, basically, you can't play Blue-Red anymore. Because there's only opt-in consider. You don't have Faithless Looting, and you don't have any good blue two drops that draw cards besides Charter Course, but you would much rather play Iteration on 3 as a sorcery, obviously, to get the prowess triggers for your stuff. Be that as it may, overall, I'm happy with the Pioneer bans. Like, that's fine. Winota was a busted Magic card, but to not, to give Iteration the ban in Explorer was kind of absurd. There is one line here that Hooglin talked about on his that is kind of funny. And I want to say it was... Yeah. Wait. Where is it? Hold on. It's in here somewhere. Ah, yeah, here it is. Due to its large metagame share, high win rate, and the ability to create frustrating removal check gameplay, Winota is banned. That's kind of telling, because removal check gameplay, that's literally what Magic has been for like the last like 5 years. And Winota is not the end-all be-all offender of removal check gameplay. How many times have you seen in Standard specifically, like, the opponent goes turn 4, turn 5 Goldspan Drag, and they untap and the game's just over? Like, if you do not have removal at the time, and even then sometimes it doesn't happen, you have to have exactly, like, Soul Shatter or something else to where they don't get the token to counter your stuff. And that's the thing that just is so frustrating about how Magic has been, is that we don't want to create a removal check gameplay, even though that's literally what it's been the last like 5 to 10 years, and it's always been that way. That's what's been pushing the power level of even Standard to almost modern gameplay, is the fact that some of the creatures have been. Do you have removal? Okay, the game's over if you don't. Greasefang is also an offender. So I'm not saying that Greasefang is a better version. I'm just saying that if you're going to get rid of these removal check gameplay options, then you need to get rid of all of them. All right. Standard I don't really care about because the format is a dumpster fire. And the best part about this whole deal is they looked at the data from Platinum and higher on MTG Arena Ladder, and it shows the metagame being in a healthy spot. Look, nothing is more annoying than Wizards taking data, and they're saying data is like, obviously data is what you want, but when you nitpick and you just completely ignore the rest of the data, for example, MTGO leagues, MTGO standard. MTGO has been running standard events every week outside of the leagues, and this last standard challenge was like, I want to see the data on this, but I'm pretty sure, like, I'll take a stab at it that it was like 60% or more of Hinata. Jabberwocky or Logan Nettles, his entire standard metagame challenge, or his standard challenge, he played against Hinata every match except the one he lost in the top 4, which was the Mardu. And then somebody else played to the top 4, 8 rounds, similar number of rounds, and all they played was against Hinata. So 15 out of 16 matches was Hinata versus Hinata. Don't tell me Standard is at at a good spot when you're only looking at one out of maybe 3 or 4 other places where you can collect data. Especially when MTG Arena Ladder, you didn't specify whether it was best of 1 or best of 3 or constructed events or anything else. You just said ladder play. And you're not looking at anything else. You're just kind of nitpicking, cherry picking data that doesn't really help. So standard is still not where it needs to be. But when will it be? Modern and Legacy, I don't care about. Vintage, I don't care about. But basically, to sum this up overall, Explore, a little bit disappointed, but I can get over it. I can play other stuff. It's not a big deal. It's unfortunate because I wanted to play Blue-Red Prowess or Blue-Red Spells, but alas, I digress. Pioneer, once full Pioneer comes onto Arena, I will be happy. And Historic Anthology 6 drop will hopefully give us Dig Through Time and Treasure Cruise specifically so that we can, mess around with some more blue-red stuff. But unfortunately, we do not have any of those, so blue-red is kind of like out of the question at the moment. So we're just gonna have to do something else. But overall, it's fine. Initially, I was upset about it, but I'll get over it, much like other stuff. But all right, I covered my camera and I didn't realize I did. But all right, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. All socials in the description. And we stream Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or sometimes Saturday and Sunday. Bonus streams on the weekends, but it's been a little bit here and there due to a lot of stuff going on. If you catch the stream, I will be going over some stuff in the announcements for those Twitchers. We'll be going over that next. So see you in the next video. Oh, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. Thanks.